গুড ইভিনিং অ্যান্ড ওয়েলকাম টু প্রথমা। আজকের আমাদের আলোচনা একটা খুব স্পর্শকাতর বিষয় নিয়ে, সম্পর্ক। সম্পর্ক একটা অত্যন্ত জটিল মানসিক একটা বিষয়। বলা হয়ে থাকে দ্য বেস্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ইজ দ্যাট ওয়ান রিলেশনশিপ দ্যাট অ্যাকচুয়ালি পেজ ইউ ফর লাইফ টাইম। তো সম্পর্কের নানান রূপ, নানান তার পরিচয়, নানান গোত্র, আবার কিছু সম্পর্ক তো নাম গোত্রহীন হয়, তাই না? সম্পর্কের বিভিন্ন রূপ আমরা দেখে থাকি সারা জীবন ধরে। আর এই বিভিন্ন সম্পর্কের ভুলভুলাইয়াতেই বিভিন্ন রূপের সম্পর্ক জট ছাড়াতে আমাদের কেটে যায় সারাটা জীবন। কখনো সারাতে পারি, কখনো ছাড়াতে পারি না, কখনো আবার সেই সমস্যাগুলো জটিল আকার ধরে এবং আমাদের জীবন তছনছ করে দেয়। বিশেষত সমস্যায় ভোগেন সেই সমস্ত মহিলারা যারা হয়তো কোথাও চাকরি করেন, ঘরের এবং বাইরের দুটো জীবনকে ব্যালেন্স করতে একটা সময় তারা বুঝতেই পারেন না যে এই দৌড়োদৌড়ির মধ্যে কখন কোনো একটা সম্পর্কের সুতো আলগা হয়ে হাত থেকে ছেড়ে যাচ্ছে। যখন বোঝেন তখন হয়তো অনেক দেরি হয়ে গেছে। আজকের আমাদের আলোচনার বিষয় হচ্ছে সম্পর্ক এবং তার অলিগলি। আজ আমার সাথে আছে নিরুপমা ব্যাস, যে কিনা জীবনের শুরু থেকে স্টেজ অত্যন্ত ভালোবাসতো। স্টেজে পারফর্ম করা ওর অন্যতম প্যাশন ছিল। সেখান থেকে আস্তে আস্তে একজন রিলেশনশিপ ডক্টর বা একজন রিলেশনশিপ হিলার, একজন টেডএক্স স্পিকার, একজন পডকাস্টার, কিভাবে পরিচয় দেবো আমি ওর অনেক রূপ আছে। তো আমি নিরুপমাকেই ডেকে নিই, লেট হার ইন্ট্রোডিউস হারসেলফ বেস্ট।
Hi, Priti.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much. It's a great pleasure to be on your show, and I love the way you speak Bengali in such a beautiful manner. Shubha Sunday, everyone. That was the only word I was able to pick, while Priti was talking in Bengali. Shubha Sunday, Namaste. एंड मेरा नाम निरुपमा है एंड मैं अगर अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस करूं तो आई एम डॉटर ऑफ एन एस्ट्रोलॉजर, वाइफ ऑफ अ वॉकिंग टॉकिंग encyclopedia, a fitness freak who turned into a cop with Government of India for 6 years. Then I turned into a TEDx speaker. Now I'm a relationship counselor and healer. मैं working women की मदद करती हूँ जिससे वो अपने careers में grow कर सके by healing their professional and personal relationships. That's a little bit about me, Dhriti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nirupama. From an employee to a government service to an entrepreneur, how this journey is, what is your, inspiration? What are those factors that you think that help you to grow?
That's a very good question, Dhriti. Thank you for asking. Dhriti, बहुत बार लाइफ में हम चीजें प्लान करते हैं, but life doesn't go by our plans. Whenever we start out as somebody who is having different milestones in life, आप एक हद तक preparation कर सकते हो life में, but then ultimately what I realize is that one needs to go with the flow. So that's the bottom line that I believe in. But since you've asked me a few steps, I would really talk about those. सबसे पहले, people say that you need to have clarity. What is the direction in which you want to go. But मैं आप लोगों से ये कहना चाहूंगी कि clarity कभी भी एक दिन में नहीं आती है. Rather, clarity comes from that kind of mess. जब आप बहुत ज़्यादा lost होते हो, that's where you realize that what is it that you would want to do in life. So, to everybody who is hearing us right now, I would want to say one thing, that just allow yourself to take that first step. When you take that first step, it's almost like the headlight of a car. आपको थोड़ा सा दिखाई देगा, जब आपको उतना दिखाई देगा उसके आगे आपको नेक्स्ट स्टेप दिखाई देगा और उसके आगे नेक्स्ट स्टेप दिखाई देगा. ये तो हुई क्लैरिटी की बात. दूसरी बात है, आपको इंस्पिरेशन खुद से आनी चाहिए. बहुत बार हम मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर्स के पास जाते हैं, बहुत सारी मोटिवेशनल वीडियोस देखते हैं और मोटिवेशनल बुक्स पढ़ते हैं, और हम सोचते हैं हम ये मोटिवेशन लेंगे एंड हमारा काम हो जाएगा, बट वो मोटिवेशन एक परफ्यूम की तरह होता है। आपने सुबह लगाया, वो शाम तक कब गायब हो जाएगा आपको पता नहीं लगेगा। So till the time you don't have that kind of inspiration or that spark from within, कि मुझे कुछ करना है, एंड कुछ करना है अगर आपका फोकस आप अपने आप पर है तो आप सिर्फ अपने तक ही काम करोगे। बट व्हेन यू एक्चुअली स्टार्ट पुटिंग योर फोकस ऑन द पीपल whom you want to help in any way, आप आज की डेट में किसी भी फॉर्म में हेल्प कर सकते हो। हेल्प करने के लिए हमें कोई बहुत बड़ा काम करने की जरूरत नहीं है। कोई भी इंसान अपना काम अच्छे से ईमानदारी से करे और अपने काम के थ्रू सामने वाले की लाइफ में कंट्रीब्यूट करे, वो भी एक हेल्प है। तीसरी चीज धृति जो मेरे लिए बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट थी, वो थी पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग। अब पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग क्यों मैं बताना चाह रही हूँ, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इंटरनेट एक समुंदर है। आपने भी देखा है कोविड के बाद किस तरह, राइट, किस तरह से इस समुंदर में लोग गायब हो जाते हैं। बट जब तक आप अपना मैसेज क्लियरली अपने ऑडियंस को नहीं दे पाते हो और अपने आप को एक ब्रांड के फॉर्म में नहीं प्रेजेंट करते हो, सो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इज यू विल गेट लॉस्ट इन दैट सी। सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप किस तरह से अपने आप को एज अ ब्रांड पुट आउट करते हो, सही ऑडियंस को सही वैल्यू प्रोवाइड करते हो। और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कुछ नहीं है, इट्स ऑल अबाउट सॉल्विंग पीपल्स प्रॉब्लम्स एट द एंड ऑफ द डे।
Absolutely agreed with you, Nirupama, in this note that it's nothing but, finding a way to help people, how we can solve their problem.
Absolutely. So these are a few things, that I think led my journey from being an employee to an entrepreneur. जो मैं एक बहुत important aspect है धृति जो मैं बताना चाहूंगी, which is the mindset. An employee mindset, I learned this from my husband. He said that when we are talking about a daily wage earner, his mindset is that I am going to earn on a daily basis. मैं आज का काम करूंगा, at the end of the day, I'm going to get money, by the day's end. When we are looking at an employee is a person who's actually working for 30 days or something for a month, and that person is waiting for the results, waiting for the emoluments, waiting for the salary. However, when we look at being an entrepreneurship, in the beginning it may seem to people like, oh my god, I'm not getting those kind of results. But when you put in those results for 3 months, 6 months, it's going to be a jackpot that you get, right? So it's different timelines, but at the end of the day, if you learn the systems, if you learn the processes, I think entrepreneurship can be learned very easily. So have the right mindset with the right systems and processes. That is going to be my mantra for entrepreneurship.
Awesome. यहाँ पर मैं एक बात बताना चाहूंगी कि मुझे लगता है निरुपमा की इस बात को सुन के मुझे बहुत पुराना एक कहावत याद आ गया, not very old, but it's very relevant that for जो काम करते हैं ना, those who are employees, they actually work for money, and
right,
entrepreneurs, money work for them, not
absolutely
don't work for money work for them. So that is
yes,
the difference that many people don't understand. They think that entrepreneurship is all about थोड़ा सा pocket money आ जाए घर में तो बेहतर है, but entrepreneurship is not like that. Entrepreneurship is creating employment for others. That is a very, big thing in itself. So,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for this clarity. Awesome listening to you. अच्छा नीरू, एक बात बताइए, you were a government servant, okay? You were a cop, okay?
Yeah.
That must be a very awesome and prestigious journey for you.
Yes, right? Indeed.
तो वहाँ से उसके बाद से इतने सारे options में से why you have chosen relationship healing profession? What inspired you, or what was that facts those actually haunt you? Maybe I don't know what is the reason behind it. So can you please share with our audience?
Absolutely. I would really say that when I was growing up as a child, I used to give a lot of importance to academics and career work front. and relationships used to be the last thing, that I used to focus on. मुझे ऐसा लगता था that once you have actually done really well in your career, in your work front, you get the growth in life and rest everything is taken care of. That used to be me back then. Then, as I went into the government, as you rightly pointed out, I that was the first time I realized that without building good relationships, you cannot exchange information. If you have the right connects, that's where you can actually have the right people and the right lobbying, and you can reach up to the top person in the bureaucracy, government, wherever you talk about. So that was the first time I realized that how important it is to have relationships. If you have connections, if you have relationships, that's where you're going to grow. अब ये तो बात हुई जब तक I was in a job. Now once I started getting into entrepreneurship, that's where I learned business networking. And मुझे ये समझ आया that ultimately if you do not have your network, then you do not have your net worth. So I would just want to repeat this thing. Your network is equal to your net worth. And yeah. And Jim Rohn rightly pointed out that you are the sum total of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if you do not have those kind of people in your life, there is no way by which you can grow. And I believe that is one of the reasons, Riti, I want to surround with people like you, because that indeed helps me grow as a person. So that was one part. A very significant area that I would want to talk about is that a lot of times while we are entrepreneurs, while we are working, we are just focused in a unidirectional way. We are either focusing on our career, we are either focusing on what brings us money, what improves our finances, and we put the other things on the back burner. It could be our health, it could be our relationships, it could be our spirituality, it could be anything to do with our personal growth. कोई भी एरिया हो सकता है. So जिस एरिया को आप छोड़ दोगे, इट इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक जिस पौधे में आप पानी नहीं डालोगे, वो पौधा अपने आप सूख जाएगा. So that's what exactly happens. So over a period of time, I realized that because I am not focusing on relationships, which was in the initial years of my life, and even to a great extent while I was working, I realized that I was missing a beautiful connect with people, because somewhere they say you don't need to find resources, you can be resourceful. अगर आप किसी एक ऐसे पर्सन के पास चले जाएं जो आपको वो सिखा सके, तो आपको 1000 किताबें पढ़ने की जरूरत बिल्कुल नहीं है. राइट? सो ऐसे रिश्ते ढूंढिए अपनी लाइफ में, ऐसे लोग ढूंढिए, ऐसे लोगों के साथ अपने आप को सराउंड करिए, जिससे ना कि आप एक होलिस्टिक वे में ग्रो होए, एट द सेम टाइम आपकी लाइफ बहुत ही इंटीग्रल हो. अगर आपकी लाइफ इंटीग्रल होगी तो आप हर एक डायमेंशन में ग्रो करेंगे, और अगर आप हर एक डायमेंशन में ग्रो करेंगे तो आपकी जो जर्नी होगी वो बहुत स्मूथ होगी, आपको फ्रिक्शन नहीं महसूस होगी, आप फ्लो में चलेंगे. और जब आप फ्लो में या बहाव के साथ बहेंगे ना, आपको बिल्कुल भी एफर्ट नहीं होगा. सो दैट्स the reason, I actually brought in a lot of areas, but I hope that answered your question.
Of course. मतलब you were totally focused that once you understood that मेरे life में I have given a back seat. I mean, relationship is always in a back seat. So आपको उस realization से आपको लगा कि no, now I have to pull my stocks and we have to do something about it. Very nice. अच्छा निरुपमा, आपको ऐसा कभी लगता है क्या, see, we are women, right?
Yeah.
So many transitions in our life.
Mm-hmm.
जब हम लोग बड़े होते हैं तो हमको लगता है कि हमारा जो घर है, मतलब जो हम लोग घर बोलते हैं, हमारे जो पापा का घर होता है वो हमारा घर है. And all of a sudden, during our marriage, we get to know that this is not our home anymore.
Absolutely, and that happens for women, most importantly. Yeah.
उसके बाद फिर हम एक और ट्रांजिशन के दौर से जाते हैं जब हम लोग माँ बनते हैं. एंड एंड ऑफ द लाइफ वी वर मोस्टली डिपेंडेंट ऑन आवर चिल्ड्रन.
यस.
तो ये जो सारे ट्रांजिशंस, अभी मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि चेंजेस नहीं आ रहे, चेंजेस आ रहे हैं. लेडीज आर they are taking the front row of their life and they are taking charge of their life, they are doing good. But still
Yes.
ये सारे जो ट्रांजिशंस है वो जितना हम लोग टर्मोइल फेस करते हैं उतना कोई
जी।
नहीं करता. आप एज ए रिलेशनशिप काउंसलर आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो इतने सारे ट्रांजिशंस है, हाउ अ वुमन शुड कोप विद दिस ट्रांजिशंस एंड व्हाट इज योर सजेशंस?
आपने बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा धृति मुझसे कि हाउ शुड अ वुमन कोप विद दीज ट्रांजिशंस. सो आई वुड से ट्रांजिशन इज अ पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ. आपने सुना होगा कि अगर पानी बहेगा नहीं तो वो मैला हो जाएगा. So ultimately, if you are not moving and if you're not changing yourself, if you're not moving along with the transition, you are not growing as a person. So this transition is very important for one's growth. However, हर एक स्टेज पे एक ट्रांजिशन अलग होता है. मैं आपको आपने जैसे क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट किया था फ्रॉम द टाइम यू लिव एट योर पेरेंट्स होम एज अ डॉटर. वहाँ पे you get a lot of love, you get a lot of care from your parents, and that is the place, either you come from this place that I want to give it all back to them, in the form of me doing well in life. That's one of the ways. लेकिन कई बार क्या होता है इस ट्रांजिशन में जब हम इस चीज में आते हैं, वी वांट टू गिव बैक, या तो हम बहुत ज्यादा कन्फॉर्मिस्ट हो जाते हैं. हम उस डायरेक्शन में ऐसा पर्सन बन जाते हैं वेर इन वी लूज आवर ओन आइडेंटिटी. वी वॉन्ट टू प्लीज, वी बिकम अ पीपल प्लीजर अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स. या दूसरा एक बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ होता है, वो रिबेल बन जाते हैं. दे से दैट आप अपने पेरेंट्स के या तो डायमेट्रिकली ऑपोजिट हो जाते हैं या बिल्कुल सिमेट्रिकल हो जाते हैं. सो इस चीज में मैं बिल्कुल पहले की बात कर रही हूँ, जब आप एक बच्चे की तरह होते हैं. आपको क्या ध्यान देना है कि while you are taking care of your responsibilities, while you are taking care of your duties towards your parents, you don't lose yourself as a person. That's the first transition that we are talking about. अब इसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट ट्रांजिशन होता है, when you become a sister, when you become a sister, that is the time you understand कि sharing क्या होती है. You start sharing your things with people, और आपको लाइफ में समझ आता है कि मुझे किस तरह से कोएग्जिस्ट करना है इस वर्ल्ड में. a lot of times जब आप उस अपने ब्रदर सिस्टर्स के साथ इंटरेक्ट करते हो तो एक कांस्टेंट कंपैरिजन आता है, या कांस्टेंट एक कॉम्पिटिटिव स्पिरिट आता है. या आपने अपने कजिन्स के साथ या ब्रदर सिस्टर्स के साथ फेस किया होगा कभी ना कभी. तो वो चीज में इंसान जो सबसे बड़ा लेसन सीखता है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ बीइंग अ कंपेटिटर, आप कोलैबोरेट कैसे कर सकते हैं. आज की डेट में हम बहुत ज्यादा बिजनेस कोलैबोरेशंस की बात करते हैं, अलायंस पार्टनर्स की बात करते हैं, बट जो पहला लेसन हमारा कोलैबोरेशन का आता है वो उस ट्रांजिशन से आता है व्हेन वी एक्चुअली स्टार्ट इंटरेक्टिंग विद आवर सिबलिंग्स. अब सिबलिंग के साथ आपका रिलेशन किस तरह से, अगर आपकी सिबलिंग राइवलरी है तो कहीं ना कहीं आपके बिजनेस पार्टनर्स के साथ भी राइवलरी होगी. दिस इज अ सबकॉन्शियस बिलीफ दैट वी हैव. नाउ आपने बोला कि नाउ वी मूव आउट ऑफ आवर होम. अभी तक तो बहुत ही कंफर्टेबल चीजें थी, हम एक फेमिलियर एनवायरनमेंट में थी, हमारा कंफर्ट जोन था. आवर पेरेंट्स आर गिविंग अस दैट काइंड ऑफ लव, आवर ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स आर गिविंग अस दैट काइंड ऑफ लव. अब चीज आती है वेरिन वी आर मूविंग टू अ न्यू हाउस, and that's a different family, that's a different culture, they have different traditions, they have different eating styles, they have different ways of being. You count anything, it's different. क्योंकि वहां पे if you talk about your partner, the upbringing is very different, the person has grown up in a very different atmosphere. So अब जो आपके सामने चीज आती है, can you really coexist with somebody who may be similar to you or may not be similar to you? तो यहाँ पे जो सबसे बड़ा टेस्ट आता है आपकी अडेप्टेबिलिटी स्किल्स का. आप कितने अडेप्टेबल हो सिचुएशन में. और कई बार मैं अपनी वीडियोस में अक्सर ये बोलती हूँ दैट अ रिलेशनशिप रिवील्स योर इंटरनल वूंड्स मच मोर देन एनीथिंग एल्स इन द वर्ल्ड. आप अकेले रहोगे, आपको अपने बारे में कभी कुछ नहीं पता लगेगा। बट जब आप किसी के साथ रहना स्टार्ट करोगे, आप अपने आप को आईने की तरह देखने लग जाओगे, अपने आप को पहचानने लग जाओगे दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन यू रियली आर, you know? So I think that's a place wherein you can see yourself more than the other person, and there is a scope for you to really work onto yourself. Otherwise तो आपको वो सारी चीजें पता ही नहीं लगेगी अपनी लाइफ में।
ये जो आपने बोला ना, दिस इज ट्रूली आई ओपनर। मतलब हम लोग सोचते हैं कि हम लोग आईने देखते हैं तो हमको पता चलता है क्या, एम आई लुकिंग गुड, एम आई नॉट लुकिंग गुड, दिस ड्रेस सूट्स मी, बट वेदर आई एम रियली लुकिंग गुड इनसाइड, वो हमें पता चलता है जब हम लोग एक्चुअली देखता है कि व्हेन वी आर विद अदर्स, दैट
Yes.
हाउ वी आर बिहेविंग विद देम। वेरी ट्रू निरुपमा, वेरी ट्रू, ऑनेस्टली। एंड व्हाट अबाउट मदर्स?
See, I have very little experience because I'm not a mother myself, but I would talk about maybe my relationship with my mother, or I have been taking care of my younger brother in his younger days. So I think the one transition that that happens from being a wife, or maybe a girl into a mother would be the place wherein you are more in the form of आप अपना हाथ ऐसे फैला रहे हो, you are taking in all the aspects. It is more about giving to that person. अभी तक आप केयर ले रहे हो, अभी तक आप सामने वाले से लव ले रहे हो, अभी तक आप सामने वाले से अफेक्शन ले रहे हो, अभी तक आप सपोर्ट ले रहे हो. But what I have seen from my mother, it's more like you become somebody who's actually giving. Giving even when you feel that my needs are not fulfilled. Even when you feel that I'm not happy, but I need to make sure that my kids are happy. I need to make sure that I provide the best things to my kids. और एक तरह से वही होता है ना कि when you are a mother, Riti, you become your biggest role model for the child. So आप जो भी एक्शन करोगे, कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में ये आएगा कि what will my child think about me, जो मैं एक्शन कर रही हूँ.
Very true, Nirupama. I can relate to each and everything that you are talking about a mother. We sometimes we became so much possessive about our children that no, वो तो गलती कर ही नहीं सकता. That attitude is not at all correct. I'm just trying to portray a feeling of a mother. कि हम
Yeah.
लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि my son or my daughter is the best in the world. So we
Right.
are so caring. We can give up on anything for them.
Right.
So, मतलब आप अभी तक माँ नहीं हो, but I am. So I can completely relate what you exactly want to point out. So with that note only, कभी-कभी ना मैं तो बहुत सारे मदर्स से बातें करती रहती हूँ. खुद मैंने भी कभी-कभी फील किया है कि वहाँ पर ना कुछ कंफ्यूजन सा आ जाता है. जब भी एक लड़की एक वाइफ से एक माँ बनती है, उसका प्रायोरिटी शिफ्ट होता है, करेक्ट? उसकी ज्यादातर प्रायोरिटीज होते हैं उनके बच्चे, ज्यादातर उनके हस्बैंड. तो इसमें कभी ना कभी हस्बैंड वाइफ के बीच में थोड़ा सा वो जो पहला वाला जो रिलेशनशिप होता है वो थोड़ा सा नम हो जाता है.
Understood.
आपको क्या बताना है?
That's a great question. So it's basically both are the parts of the same body. मैं ये वाला हाथ चुनूं या ये वाला हाथ चुनूं. It's a difficult choice ultimately. So धृति, मैं ना इस चीज को थोड़ा सा और elaborate करूंगी कि हम लोग बहुत बार बात करते हैं कि whether I should be a good wife or whether I should be a good mom. But मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूंगी, इसमें ना एक और एंगल है. हम हस्बैंड के साथ या बच्चों के साथ तो टाइम स्पेंड करने का सोचते हैं, बट कभी कभी इस इंसान को भूल जाते हैं, आवर ओन सेल्फ. सो जहाँ तक कि टाइम स्पेंड करने की बात है, तो यू नीड टू बी ensuring that not only you are spending time with your husband, not only you're spending time with your children, but you're also spending time with yourself. Because when you are giving so much to people, कई बार आप इतने खाली हो जाते हो that you forget to fill your own self. And whatever you do not have, you cannot give it to anyone. So मैं सबसे पहले बोलूँगी to all the women who are listening, आपकी जितनी भी responsibilities हो, you may be a daughter-in-law, you may be a daughter, you may be a wife, you may be a mom. At the end of the day, if you are not spending time with yourself and filling yourself, you will be drained. Mark my words, you'll be drained, completely drained, because आप दे ही नहीं पाओगे सामने वाले को. Coming back to your question, Riti, that how do we choose, with whom should I be spending time? I would say you just need to divide your time, but not your attention. That's a distinction that people need to start looking at. That attention आप दोनों को ही दे रहे हो, but at the end of the day, you really have to look at that. How are you dividing your time? The moment you sit with yourself, you figure out that what are the needs, who requires me the most. Kai baar, again, I will be looking at my mom's life here. So a lot of times I've seen that, she has given us so much that I haven't seen my mother going out with my dad, for maybe dates, which they might be doing before we came to their world, So मुझे ऐसा लगता है आपको दोनों रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज निभानी है, क्योंकि दोनों आपकी लाइफ में प्रायोरिटी है. बट एट द सेम टाइम जब हम एक प्लांट की बात करते हैं ना, तो अगर आप उस प्लांट के रूट्स पे काम नहीं करोगे, एंड व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द रूट्स, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द सोर्स रिलेशनशिप विच यू हैव विद योर पार्टनर. If you do not nurture that relationship with love as manure, with care as a fertilizer, with the affection as sunlight, maybe, with the time that you got to spend in the form of water, the way you're watering the plant, तो जो उसके fruits होंगे ना, they will never turn sweeter. आपने सुना होगा that if there is a broken family, if the relationship between parents is not good, it really impacts the relationship with the child, So ultimately, हम लोग अपनी relationships में जैसे भी जाते हैं, somewhere or the other, we are imitating or we are emulating what our parents did, with each other. And like they say, kids are like monkeys. Monkey see, monkey do, हमें उनको बताने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. So how we are being in our life is what they are going to take up, and that's how their relationships are going to shape up in life. So it's kind of rhyming. Whatever we do, they take up and they shape up their lives. So that's one. Along with this, I would say that very importantly, it's okay sometimes to leave your kids to your parents' home and go out as individuals in taking care of our relationship. बहुत बार mothers especially guilt में चली जाती है, कि मैं कहीं बाहर जाऊंगी तो बच्चों को ही लेके जाऊंगी साथ में. कभी कभी it's okay to take a break. Maybe if the kids are older enough, you can explain it to them that I need to spend that kind of time with your dad. That's one. Secondly, I think as women, we want to do everything, and we want to be filling all the spaces. मैं यहाँ पे भी इसकी भी नीड फुलफिल करूँ, उसकी भी नीड फुलफिल करूँ. मेरे को एक दुर्गा का पिक्चर सामने आ रहा है, आप बंगाल से हो, so वो दुर्गा के इतने सारे हाथ हैं, and she wants to just take care of everything. Dashabhuja, exactly that. And now in all of this, she finds herself so stressed and tired that she feels मैं तो burn out हो गई at the end of the day. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to tell your husband that let's be a team together. साथ में करते हैं ना जो भी कर रहे हैं. It's okay to tell your kids that I want you to complete certain tasks. Start delegating. जैसे आप अपने ऑफिस में काम डेलीगेट करते हो, अपने घर में भी काम डेलीगेट करो, और एज अ टीम सब लोग काम करेंगे जब मिलके. It's going to be like a game. Right. More or less like a game that everybody is, kind of doing it together. So it's
enjoying it together.
Absolutely.
बन जाता है ना उससे. That is
yes.
very बहुत important point नोटिफाई किया है आपने कि अगर हम लोग अपने फैमिली को एक टीम बना लेते हैं, एक साथ काम करते हैं, तो हमारे साथ जो दोस्तों है, अभी दोस्तों आप लोग सुन रहे हो ना, কেমন লাগছে আপনাদের? আপনারা বুঝতে পারলেন, mother please watch out, go on a date with your husband, leaving children in a safe place, तो आप लोगों को भी इस तरफ ध्यान देना चाहिए. निरुपमा इज पॉइंटिंग एवरीथिंग वेरी ब्यूटीफुली. तो हमारे जो दर्शक है वो अगर कोई इंटरेक्ट करना चाहिए, उनको अगर आपके दिल में कोई क्वेरीज है, या आप हम लोगों को ठीक से सुन पा रहे हो, अच्छे से मतलब समझ रहे हो, तो यू कैन कमेंट डाउन. अगर आपको कोई कोई क्वेरीज है रिलेटेड टू रिलेशनशिप, निरुपमा certainly address that question too. So Nirupama, anything else that you want to add, or shall I move to the next question, because next question is very interesting.
I will just sum up this entire thing. Maybe जो आपने पूछा, just divide your time, not your attention. Then I would say it's okay to tell people that I cannot do more than this and ask for help. And finally, don't lose your source relationship. For the fruit relationship, root को strong करो तो fruit अपने आप मीठा होगा.
Very true. Very true. Nirupama, now I want to ask you something that is more mature.
Yes.
Okay, so see, I mean, extramarital affair is now legal. Okay?
Yes.
But sometimes it happens that every relationship is tagged under extramarital relation, and it normally creates, hayward in the home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a relationship doctor or healer, what is your suggestion? Not only suggestion, what is your understanding of a extramarital affair? And then, of course, we would like to hear about your suggestions.
Sure. Like you rightly pointed out that extramarital affair is legal in India. So I would just want to explain it to the audience that what is the legality part of this whole aspect. So pehle, we used to consider extramarital affair as a crime, in our country. But now, as far as the legal things are concerned, it has become more of a civil case than a criminal case in the country. I wanted to explain this because now let's look at the word extramarital. Extramarital is something outside marriage or outside a contract, outside the marital contract that we are talking about. Now, what is the definition of an extramarital affair? That's something we got to look at. Is it something to do with a person, or nowadays अगर नृति मैं आज की बात करूँ, both men and women have equal opportunities. Both of them are going out. They can find new partners. They can have their own set of things. But ultimately, जब भी हम extramarital affair की बात करते हैं, we say that a person who's violating the contract of marriage and indulging in something outside marriage, which is expected out of your partner, right? That's the basic definition of extramarital affair, right? If we can look at. But in today's world, we have associated so much of judgment with the extramarital affair that, I think we were discussing, Riti, that the person with whom we are associating extramarital affair, we come with a lot of blame, criticism, and complaint and judgment for that person as if that person has done a heinous crime. And the victim, the partner of that person is given a lot. Yes. Yeah. That people tend to sympathize with that person that somewhere or the other, oh my God, how bad is she feeling or how bad is he feeling? But nobody actually goes into the root of the problem. A lot of times they say that we attract extramarital affairs in our lives. How do you attract that? Now, whenever there is an incompletion between two people, and here in this case, we are talking about husband and wife, we are talking about a formal relationship per se. Now, this incompletion could be in any form. Incompletion could be some sort of lack of emotional intimacy, physical intimacy. It could be communication gap. It could be a person not able to voice out things. It could be in the form of a person not being heard. It could be in the form of a person being discriminated, a person being let down, one person wanting to put himself at a higher pedestal, the other person has always been suppressed, कुछ भी हो सकता है. जब भी ये चीजें होती है रिलेशनशिप में, there is some sort of incompletion that gets developed. And when that incompletion gets developed, because this person is not getting that emotional fulfillment from his or her partner, that person wants to go to somebody else who can understand that better than your partner. It's as simple as that, if we have to look at it.
Or sometimes they don't tend to, it automatically happens.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. There is no intention, that I would want to go out. It happens like, we are in a world wherein we are talking about lesbian and gay relationships, and sometimes that kind of comfort comes better in the person, maybe outside marriage, and we call it, it's an extramarital affair. It's a very taboo subject that we are talking about, and marriages get over this entire situation. Families are broken, so uh, if such a thing is happening, which is happening quite a lot, because the dynamics of relationships have changed much more than ever, nowadays.
Now,
uh,
open
yes,
everywhere. I mean, internet is open. We are mixing with people every single day, and
exactly.
talking to unknown people. We are talking to known people. The communication is, I mean, hugely changed from earlier days. It's very easy to get along with a person, maybe with whom I can match one or two traits of me. Now,
Yes.
others are labeling that as an extramarital affair. So
Yes.
that is exactly what you wanted to say, right?
Exactly. So you rightly pointed out that, because there is so much of intermingling of the world, because we are moving towards globalization, because the communication channels have, intertwined with each other much more than ever. So the society has progressed in such a manner that, in older days, when our moms were, most of them were homemakers, and that kind of interaction was never there at any point of time. So nowadays, even while they're interacting, it gets labeled as a extramarital affair, and in some cases, I don't say things don't happen. There are people who are actually taking advantage also of this label, that I am being wrongly implicated.
Correct.
So I would want to say there are all kinds of people in the world. But at the end of the day, when there are two people who started a relationship together, so instead of, creating a hue and cry about it, see, the first thing that comes in case of an extramarital affair is judgment, for the other person. It could be a guy, it could be a girl. I'm not getting into genders. But the first thing we do is, we just feel that your world has gone upside down, whosoever is the victim. And at that point of time, the first thing we get into is the blame game. The first thing we get into is we start, complaining, we start grumbling, we start telling that person that ultimately, you have ruined my life. I just cannot stay with you. But while we are doing it, we are putting in so much of frustration and anger in that relationship that the scope of communication is getting lost
Very true.
completely. So, the first thing, ladies, I would want to say in such a scenario is, please, you and your partner sit down together. The first question, even if your partner has actually got into an extramarital relationship, or if you have gotten into an extramarital relationship, is to think that, do you want to come back to this relationship? Do you want to give this relationship a chance? Do you want to rebuild this relationship? That's the first question, that we need to ask ourselves. आप बहुत सारी details में चले जाते हो इधर उधर, what happened, how it happened, where did you go, what did you talk, what happened. All of
आपने
that is nonsensical.
किया है, and all sort of.
Yeah. And this is the core question that you really want to ask yourself. Do you want to build it back? Do you want to really put that kind of investment into this relationship? Ask yourself. And if both the partners agree, you need to understand that your relationship is not at that level what it used to be at one point of time. So there is a mess, there's a clear mess right now. Now, one of you will have to take the charge, or both of you will have to take the charge. But why I say one of you? Because you have control onto your action to really clear that mess, to really clean that mess, to really confront that issue, to talk it out, to have that clear communication. And once you have that clear communication, please give it that much amount of time. There are a lot of people who think that overnight चीजें change हो जाएगी. Nothing happens overnight. आपने जब अपना रिलेशनशिप स्टार्ट भी किया था वो भी ओवरनाइट नहीं हुआ था. इट टुक यू अ नंबर ऑफ डेट्स विद योर पार्टनर, इट टुक यू अ नंबर ऑफ मीटिंग्स, फोन कॉल्स, till you understood and you realize that yes, he or she is the one. So now when you are wanting to build your relationship once again, you got to give yourself that kind of time, that yes, it's going to take that much of time. One more area that I would want to say is that maybe your relationship may not be the way it used to be. A lot of times people think that पहले जैसे थी वैसे हो जाए. Can you really look at creating a new relationship with a new person? And what happens if it's not like that? Maybe you can explore a new dimension with each other,
Absolutely.
which you hadn't explored all these years.
Right.
One more thing, Adriti, I would want to say, sometimes we bring a lot of extraneous variables.
Like,
We like family, friends, and we start taking consultation from them. What do I do in such a scenario? But because the problem is between two people, the first thing that two people need to do is to start resolving them themselves. Because no doubt people are coming with a very good intention. Nobody feels wrong for you, but their knowledge, their point of view may not be correct for your relationship. And that's where first both of you talk. If the situation has actually gone beyond that level wherein it's difficult for both of you to talk to somebody whom you feel is a trusted person, or talk to professionals who can really help you, because they would see the situation objectively. They are nowhere involved in this entire sequence of things.
very true. Very true. Agreed. Completely agreed with you, Nirupama.
So these are a few things, and at the end of the day, I would say, Dhriti, it's very important to give your partner that kind of choice, because ultimately, as you change as a person, your partner also changes with time.
Right.
If the person wants to stay with you, no matter how much you want to push him or her away, the person will not go.
Right.
However, if the person doesn't want to stay with you, no matter how much you want to hold on to, things will not happen.
Yeah, of course, of course. See, holding someone, I don't think that is a good choice, because
Yes.
if you are holding someone at any point of time, he or she must be leave. Okay,
Yes.
he must be leaving. So there is no point holding someone. But I think what you have suggested, I really like it. That search for some other traits that match between this, couple, and let's create a new relationship instead of trying for the old relationship, that वो पहले जैसा नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, तुम effort नहीं कर रहे हो. Without this blame game, we can sit and discuss together that how to build a new relationship. That is very
Absolutely.
important, guys. I think this is a very good suggestion from Nirupama. Anything else that you want to add, Nirupama?
I would just want to say that what happens is, if certain things happen in a relationship, it so happens that after a few months, after a few years, whenever you people fight, whenever there's a fight between the couple, that same situation keeps coming again and again. And we tend to backlash our partner, that because you did that at that point of time, you're going to do it again. And I understand you're coming from that place of fear, that maybe this thing might happen again. But if you keep playing that same recording again and again, it is almost like repetition is the mother of a skill. आप जितना उसको बार बार रिपीट करते रहोगे अपनी लाइफ में, वो चीज उतनी एक्टिव होती रहेगी, और जितनी एक्टिव होती रहेगी उतना ज्यादा कम स्कोप मिलेगा आपको एक नई रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करने का.
Very
So I would say, Do not play that record. Past is past. That's a place of learning, not living.
Thank you so much, Nirupama. Okay, this is a very good explanation of a very controversial topic, I would say. So let us, move to our next question. That
Sure.
do you think that professional careers suffered due to personal relationship dynamics? Do you really think so?
Of course. Riti, you tell me one thing. You're having a bad time with your children, or let's say with your better half. Do you think you will be able to focus that clearly on this show
Of
right
course,
now?
no. I would not be
Because,
in the mood to do this show at all.
right? So, somewhere or the other, because there is so much happening at an emotional level, हम बोलते हैं that keep your work aside, keep your personal life aside, or we just say that, oh, if we talk about work, if we talk about profession, it's more to do with logic. But when we talk about our relationships, that's more to do with emotions. But at the end of the day, we do not realize it's that one same person who's dealing both the things. It's not a different person. So if we are talking about that one same person, that person will have those kind of emotions, that person will have that kind of logic, maybe for a transient period. You will know how to balance your logic and how to balance your emotions. But if it is a prolonged thing, what really happens in such a scenario is that somewhere or the other, there is going to be a dampening effect. Why a dampening effect? Because, just give me one moment.
Yeah, sure. Your voice is not right.
Yeah, I was just drinking some water.
Since morning, you must be having long days.
Sometimes, like it so happens. Yeah, so
Yeah, please continue.
so what I was essentially wanting to say was that it's that same person who's actually becoming logical. It's that same person who is becoming emotional. Now, because this person is saying that, no, right now I'm just going to keep my emotions aside. No, right now, while I'm with my family, let me keep my work aside. You actually have to be a robot that way, Dhriti.
You got that.
It's not possible. एंड अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले धृति बात की थी आपकी जिस तरह से कोलैबोरेशन आपके ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स की तरह के साथ है उसी तरह की आपकी कोलैबोरेशन आपके बिजनेस पार्टनर्स के साथ होगी राइट इन द सिमिलर वे the kind of relationship that you share with your father, you have a similar relationship with your male boss, subconscious level pe, because you see your male boss as your father figure.
Superior.
सुपीरियर यस अगर आपकी कुछ प्रॉब्लम है आपके फादर के साथ तो वो सिमिलर प्रॉब्लम होगी आपके बॉस के साथ और अगर आप अपने घर में लोगों को मैनेज नहीं कर पा रहे हो और इफ यू हैव सम प्रॉब्लम्स विद रिगार्ड टू यू नो taking or keeping the members of the family together, you will definitely have problem in keeping your team together at workplace. These things are so relatable to each other that अगर आप बोलते हो कि मैं एक चीज पे फोकस करूंगा दूसरी चीज पे ध्यान नहीं दूंगा because ultimately your professional success is nothing but a reflection of who you are as a person. एंड आप दो लोग नहीं बन सकते कि आप घर पे कोई और बनो और ऑफिस में कोई और बनो इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक यू नो वेयरिंग टू मास्क एंड कब तक आप मास्क पहन पाओगे आप एक स्टेज के बाद वो पहन ही नहीं पाओगे
नहीं ऐसा नहीं होता है ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं होता है because as a working woman we all face that. It's really true that whenever we are having a mess in home, it's normally put us in a very down mood. So we are not in a mood to interact with people in a proper manner. Like I just want to give an example here.
Sure.
What happened today? I
Yeah.
was very busy. The entire day was truly very busy for me today.
I understand. Yeah.
Between I have to pick my children, okay,
Yeah.
from their school bus. Now
Right.
मैं बहुत जल्दी में थी. मैं almost 5 minutes बाकी था मुझे जाना था. मैं कैसे भी करके मेरा मीटिंग खत्म किया. मैंने बैग उठा के भागी.
Right.
Rush में I left my keys in home and locked the door from outside.
Oh my god.
That is a yell lock. Entirely the door is locked. When I came
Yeah.
back to my two kids, I understood that the room, it's locked and I cannot open it.
Right.
I have to call someone from some carpenter and they broke my
Lock. Yes.
you imagine that how, I mean, just because I had a fight in my last meeting, I was completely out of my mind.
Absolutely.
See, it's both sides. Not only the personal relation affect the professional relation, even the professional relations also affect our activities.
Absolutely. A lot of times, because the client did not perform in a particular manner, we start yelling at the kids at home because they are the people who are little less powerful. Yes.
Right,
you
right,
know and we yell at them, or sometimes it so happens that because we are angry at work, that same sort of anger is lashed upon our partner. you
right.
know
Absolutely.
so I think what you are saying is, it's not how you're performing, but the emotion behind it. Whatever emotion that you're carrying, whether it's in the personal front that you will be carrying in your professional front, and whatever it's on the professional front, you will be bringing it back home, and that's how you'll be creating your home environment. And one more thing I want to say here, that ultimately it's going to define the kind of productivity and performance you have. you know
Very true.
if you have too much clutter in your mind, तो अगर मैं आपसे एक्सपेक्ट करूं कि आप क्रिएटिव कुछ क्रिएट कर रहे हो, वो तो आप कर ही नहीं पाओगे, because uh, your mind is in so much of mess. You
Exactly.
cannot bring out those creative ideas at all.
हो ही नहीं पाएगा. Very true.
Absolutely.
And Nirupama, what about self-sabotaging then? Do you feel, I mean, how self-sabotaging is impending our professional life? What is your comment on that?
That's a brilliant question. uh, so Diti, सबसे पहले समझते हैं what is self sabotaging, what is a self sabotaging pattern.
Yes,
So
because उनको पता नहीं होगा
yes.
sabotaging के बारे में, तो please आप explain कर दो.
सो सेल्फ सैबोटेजिंग क्या होता है? इट्स अ सेल्फ डिफीटिंग बिहेवियर. आप लोगों में से बहुत सारे लोग गाड़ी चलाते होंगे. जब आप गाड़ी चलाते हो, एक पैर आपका एक्सेलरेटर पे और दूसरा पैर आपका ब्रेक पे है, तो गाड़ी कितनी आगे जाएगी धृति?
आगे नहीं जाएगी,
आगे जाएगी ही नहीं.
हो जाएगी.
राइट, वहीं की वहीं रहेगी. नाउ दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन आवर लाइफ. अल्टीमेटली हम लोग, because we have those limiting beliefs, we have those self defeating patterns within us. हम जब अपनी लाइफ में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, हम अपने आप को उतना ही पीछे खींच लेते हैं. अब ये क्यों पीछे खींचते हैं? क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं हमें डर लगता है कि, लाइक द वे यू हैव फियर ऑफ फेलियर, यू ऑल्सो हैव फियर ऑफ सक्सेस. कि अगर मैं सक्सेसफुल हो गई तो क्या होगा? There are a lot of people who do not want to earn money. Why they don't want to earn money? Because they feel they will be judged by their family members. They feel that they will not be able to spend that kind of a time, with their loved ones. अगर मैंने पैसा कमा लिया, अगर मैंने उतनी मेहनत कर ली, तो हो सकता है मैं जो टाइम अभी दे रही हूँ अपनी फैमिली को, वो फैमिली को टाइम ही ना दे पाऊँ, एंड दैट इज द रीजन आई डोंट वांट टू वर्क अहेड. और मैं अपने आप को रोक लेती हूँ आगे बढ़ने से. और जब मैं अपने आप को रोक लेती हूँ, which in turns create an anger and frustration within me. And because it creates that anger and frustration within me, मैं अपने आप को प्रूव कर देती हूँ that yes, मैं फेलियर हो गई हूँ. और मैं फेलियर हो गई हूँ, तो मैं अपने आप को कन्विंस कर लेती हूँ ये तो चीज मुझसे होगी ही नहीं. और जब ये चीज मुझसे होगी नहीं, वो कहते हैं hence proved, कि ये काम मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगी, and I say I will not be successful in my profession. So that's a vicious cycle that we keep moving on and on and on.
Very beautifully explained, Nirupama. This is a very important. I mean, this happened with, I mean, most of the women in any point of time. ये तो हुआ ही होगा. Even happened with me. Maybe happened with some many women, I think. तो और एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट चीज मैं आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहूंगी. आप देखो, लाइव एग्जांपल मैं बता रही हूँ आपको. रिलेशनशिप को लेके लोग कितना स्केप्टिकल है. नॉट ओनली स्केप्टिकल, दे आर वेरी क्लोज एंडेड. आई मीन, सोचो कि एक टॉक शो हो रहा है. ये जो टॉक शो मेरा होता है, हर एक शो में कम से कम 10-15 कमेंट्स तो आता ही है, क्वेश्चंस आता है, कमेंट्स आता है. आज हम लोग बातें कर रहे हैं, नॉट अ सिंगल क्वेश्चन ऑन रिलेशनशिप. maybe
Right.
relating what we are talking, but they are not coming ahead with their relationship questions publicly. So
Yes.
this is kind of, what should we say? This is procrastination, or what is this kind of thought? What do you think that why people hesitate to come up with their relationship problems? Maybe in public, even in private also. Even in private, most of the time they are not allowing themselves to consult a counselor, relationship counselor, if the relationship is in trouble. They feel guilty to talk. I mean uh, i mean they are not okay to talk to the person who can solve their problem. They think that she can solve it, but sometimes it's not. I mean, doesn't happen in that way, happen in
Yeah.
that way. So what is your point of view on this? Not a single comment.
See, I would say, first of all, people have their own reasons. I would not say that it's
No,
because
I'm
of
not
that.
judgmental. I'm
Yeah,
not being
yeah,
judgmental.
yeah. So I would just say that yes, whatever be the things, but let's talk in general. Why are people not vocal about relationships in public? One could be like they don't want to be perceived in a certain way. While they are talking about, especially on social media platforms, that could be one of the reasons that largely that we could look at. But even in private spaces, if we look at, बहुत बार होता है that people don't want to discuss these things.
Right.
Why? Because the moment you confront those things, you figure out that there is a mess in my life. And because there is such a huge mess, and to clear that mess will require an effort. To clear that mess would require you to be a very different person. It would require you to take action, you to take initiative. So one area is again a self-sabotaging mechanism. you know who will do that much of work?
Right.
If I do so much of work, by the time things become okay, I will be old and gray. That could be the second self-sabotaging mechanism, that may come to people's mind. A third thing is that people enjoy being victims of situations.
Very true. Very true.
Why do they do that, Dhiti? Because if I'm in pain, I will be attended to. लोग मुझे attention देंगे. लोग बोलेंगे, oh my god, धृति को इतना बुरा लग रहा है. Oh, धृति को तो हमें, we need to provide her this thing. I'm just giving a very random example.
Right.
So because Dhriti wants that attention from people, she doesn't want to clear her life. She doesn't want to come out of that problem because she gets that kind of attention, she gets that kind of acknowledgement, that kind of recognition. आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारे बच्चे ऐसे होते हैं जो in order to get the attention from their parents वो बीमार हो जाते हैं.
हाँ, वेरी ट्रू. मैंने देखा है मेरे बच्चों को.
राइट.
वेरी
और
ट्रू.
वो रियल में बीमार नहीं होते, बट उनको अपने पेरेंट्स से केयर और लव चाहिए,
ये
तो वो
होता है.
बीमार हो जाते हैं. और यही चीज बड़े बच्चों के साथ भी होती है. हम हो तो बड़े गए हैं, लेकिन अभी भी हमारे अंदर वो बच्चों वाला ही दिमाग है. वी वांट दैट अटेंशन, वी वांट दैट केयर, वी वांट दैट लव, एंड दैट इज द रीजन वी डोंट वांट टू बी आउट ऑफ दैट प्रॉब्लम. हमें मजा आता है उस प्रॉब्लम में.
एंड मुझे लगता है कि ना लोग एक हैप्पीनेस जोन में रहना पसंद करते हैं कि एवरीथिंग इज ओके अराउंड मी. मुझे ये सोचने में अच्छा लगता है. तो चाहे मुझे पता हो कि मेरा लाइफ कितना भी मेस हुआ हो, बट आई एम नॉट एडमिटिंग दैट इन फ्रंट, बिकॉज मैं वो हैप्पीनेस जोन में हूँ. क्यों दिखाना है लोगों को? जो है
राइट.
है चुप चुप से.
राइट.
और बाहर मुझे दिखाना है कि सेल्फी लिया, पोस्ट कर दिया, वेरी हैप्पी कपल. Okay,
Absolutely.
this is a new trend.
Yeah.
ये बहुत ही, this is also kind of self sabotaging. You are absolutely right that ये भी तो आप गलत ही कर रहे हो ना, कि आप once for all वो प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं कर पा रहे हो, तो आप लोगों को दिखा रहे हो कि एवरीथिंग इज ओके. लोगों को दिखा रहे हो, खुद को भी दिखा रहे हो. इन अदर केस आप खुद को भी दिखा रहे हो कि देखो सब कुछ तो ठीक ही है, मैं तो ठीक ही हूँ. व्हाई आई एम thinking so much about it, but उसको दिमागी मतलब inside they know that everything is not okay, still they are not coming up with this problem. I mean, this is a kind of people mind.
It's a vicious cycle. It's not like they are doing it intentionally,
Yeah, absolutely.
but I would say they get that kind of juice out of that. मजा आता है उस चीज में.
नहीं लिखा है मुझे, मतलब जब भी सोचो कि ऐसा नहीं है कि वी आर ओनली टॉकिंग अबाउट अदर्स, इट हैपेंस विद अस आल्सो.
Yes,
समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस विद अस दैट समटाइम्स वी फील दैट ओके ठीक है, थोड़ा सा तो प्रॉब्लम है, ये सुलझ जाएगा, पर
true.
पता नहीं चलता कि वो मतलब वो चीज बड़े होते होते कितनी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम में आ जाता है, कितना ज्यादा मतलब पेन हम खुद के लिए बना लेते हैं, उस चीज को नासूर बोलते हैं ना, तो नासूर बन जाते हैं वो हमारे लिए.
एब्सोल्युटली, जब कोई चीज छोटी होती है उसको सॉल्व करना बहुत आसान होता है.
Correct.
बट एक चीज मैं और बताना चाहूंगी, हमारे कंट्री में ना क्यूरेटिव हेल्थ पे ज्यादा फोकस करते हैं. कुछ चीजें होती है प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ से रिलेटेड. जब आपको एक छोटे लेवल पे चीज दिखाई दे रही है, अगर आप वहां पे उसको सॉल्व कर लो, जैसे एक छोटे बच्चे में आपको कोई चीज दिखाई दे रही है, वहां पे वो चीज पक्की नहीं हुई है, इट हैज नॉट सीमेंटेड, सो इट्स इजी फॉर यू टू रिमूव दैट. बट वी वेट कि जब तक वो चीज बड़ी और हमारे हाथ से आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल नहीं हो जाएगी, हम तब तक we are not going to go to an expert, we are not going to really ask for help. And help could be from anyone, help could also be from somebody whom you feel you can actually respect and you can really share your things with. But at the end of the day, are you ready to ask for that help? That's the main question. You need to start answering.
To yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, Nirupama. Acha, one last question.
Yes.
What is your secret of your intimate relationship with your husband? You call your husband as walking, talking encyclopedia. So, why? I mean, why? The first question. And second is, what is your success mantra to keep a very healthy, a very nice and healthy loved relationship?
Well, answering to your first question, walking, talking encyclopedia. So, like, this part that I was with the government earlier, and my husband is still with the government. So,
Okay.
whenever I had a question, during our preparation days, courtship time, so whatever I used to ask him, I never had to Google it. I will ask him, and he will immediately come with an answer. And
Wow.
that's the name actually most of his friends had given him in his college days. Okay, you don't need to search Google. Whatever you ask him, you will get an answer. So that's the reason.
That is my
Uh,
encyclopedia.
Walking, talking encyclopedia, live encyclopedia. And if I have to talk about the success mantra, I think there is no one success mantra, but the idea is to be open to communicate with each other, no matter how tough the communication is. कई बार बहुत tough conversations भी करनी होती है, but to be able to do those kind of conversations with each other, and most importantly, respect each other as individuals before respecting each other as a couple. Because if you're not able to respect each other as individuals, that togetherness can never happen. So I think that's something life has taught me over a period of time, that be in communication. So like my husband always gives me this mantra: number one, talk to me whenever you have a problem. Number two, follow number one whenever you have a problem.
Very nice. I mean, awesome, awesome. निरुपमा, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं चला कि 1 घंटा कहाँ से बीत गया. इतना अच्छा डिस्कशन एंड बहुत मेरे दिल के करीब जो टॉपिक है, मतलब जो आज का टॉपिक है, वो मेरे बहुत दिल के करीब है. बिकॉज साइकोलॉजी इज माई पैशन एंड या आई हैव स्टडीड ऑल्सो, बट आई एम
Lovely.
नॉट प्रैक्टिसिंग. प्रैक्टिस नहीं किया है, बट दिस इज वन ऑफ माई फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट. So
Awesome.
relationship is always around psychology only. The thing is, there is no skeleton that we can search about
Yes,
psychology. It's only, I mean, relationship. It's only psychology. So
absolutely.
all the questions, because मैंने ढूंढ के बहुत अजीब से questions भी निकाला था.
I know.
रिलेशनशिप को लेके डिस्कशन होता है तो कोई इस पे फोकस नहीं करते. देयर आर सो
True.
मेनी क्वेश्चंस जो बहुत बार डिस्कस हुए हैं, पर मुझे लगा था कि इफ आई एम टॉकिंग टू अ रिलेशनशिप डॉक्टर, तो आई शुड आस्क अ वेरी टेंडर क्वेश्चंस जो लोग पूछने से डरते हैं, जो लोग
Absolutely.
करते हैं. मैंने एकदम लाइफ से ये सारे क्वेश्चंस निकाले थे, तो
Yes.
मुझे लगता है कि यू हैव आंसर्ड ऑल द क्वेश्चन very wisely and beautifully explained. और
I'm
कुछ
glad.
अच्छा तो हो ही नहीं सकता था. I'm really very glad that I have you today in my show and being my Prathama.
Thank you. Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Like our common mentor always says that you see in others what's there inside of you. So ultimately, I think we have come together because we share the same vibe and we are somewhere or the other wanting to take the same mission ahead. So
So,
it's an honor to be your Prathama.
Avi sir, I am dedicating, both of us are dedicating this show to you. We are owing this
Absolutely.
because it's you for whom we are here together. Not only
Absolutely.
we can speak in front of camera, बेधड़क हम लोग बोल सकते हैं, बातें कर सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
Power of video. We know the power of social media. So, Avi sir, this is for you. Absolutely for you.
Absolutely.
And good news to you, Nirupama, that this Women's Day, Mani Pavitra ma'am is joining my show.
Oh, lovely. Fantastic. Looking forward to that show.
Yes, I am super excited. This is for all the audience out here that
Yes.
this Women's Day, we are going to have a woman in our show. She is just, what to say, I don't have any words, any adjective to explain her.
Yes.
She is the powerhouse. She is the Midas touch, I would say. Anything that she does turn into gold. So, anything you want to point out, Nirupama, about Mani Pavitra ma'am, Dr. Mani
Yes,
Pavitra?
absolutely. I would say she is one lady who starts her day like magic and she ends her day like magic because throughout the day she's creating so much of wonders. She's helping so many women. I still remember her million moms, mission that she was actually taking care of. And she's one person who has actually gone all out to be helping loads and loads of women. I mean, she's shared stage with Kim Kiyosaki. She's one of a very inspiring lady that I have seen. The way she transitioned from, being a dentist to a full-fledged businessman. She has been the president of BNI. And I mean, I really have to say to all the ladies out there that if you really have to learn that how do you manage your home front, because I've seen her life, the way she manages her home front and her work front, she's a commendable person, and you can never, miss this show that is coming on 8th of absolutely 8th of March, Women's Day. You got to be there and make sure that you get all the bunch of inspiring ladies who would want to take those nuggets of gold from Dr. Mani Pavitra.
Absolutely. I mean, लोग ना मेरे दोस्त मुझे बोलते हैं कि you are having so much energy. Sometimes I think that if they know about Mani ma'am, he is the powerhouse of energy.
Absolutely.
I mean, too much energy. So I'm really looking forward to that show, and I want you to have in that show. Please watch that show and give us all
Absolutely.
the feedback that how it went.
The
Okay.
pleasure would be all mine. Absolutely.
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच आज यहाँ पर आने के लिए, इतने टाइम स्पेंड करने के लिए, एंड मेरे जो ऑडियंस है उनको इतने अच्छे से रिलेशनशिप को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, बिकॉज दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज रियली कोर ऑफ आवर लाइफ. So we should take care of it, and I request all my audience সবাইকে বলছি আজ যেভাবে নিরুপমা সম্পর্ক নিয়ে প্রতিটি প্রশ্ন উত্তর দিল এবং জিনিসটাকে এক্সপ্লেন করলো, আমি আশা করি যে তোমাদের সবার খুব ভালো লেগেছে. আমার তো ভীষণ ভালো লেগেছে, অ্যান্ড আমি এক্সপেক্ট করবো যে তোমরা এই ভিডিওটা বারবার বারবার দেখবে এবং নিজেদের সাথে রিলেট করার চেষ্টা করবে. কিছু প্রবলেম হলে ইউ ক্যান অলওয়েজ reach to her. She is tagged in my show and in my Facebook. So any problem, please reach out to her. And I can assure you from my side that you will get the best service ever. So thank you so much, Nirupama, for coming in my show. And first time I'm talking in Bengali, English, all the languages together. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Rithi. The pleasure is all mine. Take care.